All right, welcome in, man. It's Friday, but boy, we have a different show today. Normally, we talk a lot about local weather and get into some other topics, but we're going to focus on local weather because that's the big story today, and that's the beauty of live impact weather here on WCNC Plus. Tim won't join us, so folks in the Charlotte area that are used to Tim tuning in with us, you can check WFMY Plus because he'll be up there streaming live weather coverage for the area up there. They've got a big golf tournament going on, so the weather is really important for them. Us here locally, this is by far the worst storms we've seen in a while as far as wind damage, I can tell you that. We're going to take a look at this line of storms moving through the area. Brittany Van Voorhees is going to be with me today. James Brierton is here, so we've got everybody on board here. We're going to be tracking these storms at least for the next half hour, possibly longer. Just depends on how long they're here. So tell your friends if they're not watching us right now or they need a source for weather updates, this is the place to tune in. So let's dive right in. This is the line of storms we've been watching march across the area. Easy for me to say. Watch march across the area since earlier today. And this thing is really moving quickly, which is good and bad news. The nice thing about fast-moving storms, they're not going to last long, but fast-moving storms tend to produce a lot of wind because if a storm is moving 35, 40 miles per hour, it's at least producing 35, 40 miles per hour. But then sometimes within the storm, you've got 40, 50 mile an hour winds on top of it. So the combination definitely helps produce damaging winds. So we'll focus on Union County first, and you'll see me jump around to, the velocity data. The good news here is, man, it looks like the velocities are down a little bit. We saw a lot of downburst signatures, and if you're not familiar with a downburst is, that's the typical straight line wind damage we get here in the Carolinas. 90% of our damaged trees, power lines in any summer storms, really spring storms for that matter, come from downbursts. They're not tornadoes, they're straight line winds, but it doesn't mean they're not as strong as tornadoes. Don't think because it's not a tornado it can't cause damage. It doesn't diminish the damage or the severity just because it's straight, because trust me, your house, your trees, your gutters, the power lines, they don't care what direction the wind is coming from. They just care that it's 60, 70 miles an hour. And so we have a saying, wind is wind. So anytime we see wind reports like this, we worry about damage. And just to recap, to kind of show you what a downburst is, we've seen a lot of these today. A downburst is when you got winds coming straight down to the surface and they spread out in all directions. They could be up to 150 miles per hour. A microburst is about 2.5 miles wide. If they're bigger than that, they're called a macroburst. And airplanes do not like to travel into these because these used to cause crashes all the time, especially on takeoff and landing. And that's why you often see, like we're seeing at the airport right now, you're seeing a ground stop in many of the airport. But James and I were just looking at some of the flights, James, and it looks like some are trying to come in now from the north.
Yeah, you can see one coming right over 485 and 85 there here on Flight Radar 24. They're trying to get them in. But, Brad, you can also notice all of the stationary planes. They've got them lined up trying to go in and out.
Yeah. And there's a lot on the taxiway there, which is kind of interesting. The fact you got so many. So I'm looking at the flight paths in, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 planes have come in here, and they're coming in on the back side of the storm, which means they're not coming in from the south. Typically, we'd see them come in from the south oftentimes in the cell. And I'll go back to the radar quickly here, and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. So downbursts are something that the airport tries to avoid also when there's lightning within 5 miles of the field. They do not have any crews out there. So what's happening is the airport is here on the west side of town, and so typically I would say you usually have a bunch of planes trying to come in from the south. They can't. There's a storm there. So what's happening right now is they're coming in from the north side, and we're seeing planes like a loop around. They're coming down right down the Catawba River, and they're coming in from this direction. So we're getting. The thing is, you got to get some of these planes on the ground because they've been circling for a better part of an hour or two. Wasn't the first ground stop like at 4:30 or something?
It was right before 5 o'clock, somewhere before 5 o'clock, and they extended to it last 6 o'clock. And I watched some of the flights, Brad. You know, they did holding patterns over Union County. Some of them diverted to Columbia.
Yeah.
So you've got passengers that are scattered all about. If either one of you wanted to, we do have our new WCNC roof camera, which I turned towards the airport.
Yeah.
I just don't have a way to access it.
I will bring it up right now. So we'll bring up our roof camera, which is just off the Billy Graham Parkway, by the way. And you can see, we just saw a plane go across the screen there. So we're looking due west. You see one plane right there on the tarmac. And my guess is maybe a lot of the planes are sitting there, James, because as I learned talking to folks at the airport, and this is something that travelers should be aware of, when there is lightning within 5 miles of the airport, they do not fuel. They don't put baggage on the planes. They have no ground crews. The people that have the orange landing cones, basically, if you will, the flashlights that help guide the planes in, that run those tugs all over. Because those people don't want to get hit by lightning. So
it's very, very true.
They seek shelter. So what happens, and looking at FlightAware, James, I can see them not near the gate. They're all out on the taxiway.
I'm trying to move our camera there now.
Which is telling me that they can't go to the gate because you need those folks to guide you in, right? And so this is a good sign that they probably just wanted to get those planes on the ground because they were running low on fuel, or they didn't have enough to circle or divert to another airport. And so this is one of those things where people land and they sit on the tarmac forever and they get really upset, but it's a safety issue. But I will tell you this, I think the good news, the storm's moving far enough away. I would have to look at, you can move the camera there. I'm going to look at the radius here. So yeah, you see those planes on the top of the screen there just kind of sitting? That's between runway the L and runway R, which is left and right. And by the way, there'll be a new runway right in the middle, the center one, coming up here shortly. So if lightning's within 5 miles of the field, which is actually not that far, it's pretty close in. I'm going to actually grab our lightning tracker, and I'm going to put a little box around this area. Whoops, I grabbed the wrong. I guess I didn't grab the right lightning tracker. Let me see.
While you're doing that, Brad, I can just show people, at the top of our big box there is where the passenger terminal is, but we have a whole line of airplanes that are waiting to leave, and then we have a whole line of airplanes over here in the top left that came in and now are waiting on gates.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. There's only so many gates open, and so when all these planes come in at one time, there's not a lot they can do. So I'm going to draw a quick little box here. That's actually more than 5 miles, but even there's been one strike in the last 15 minutes. So
seems like the lightning has calmed down.
Yeah, so I think give it another 5 or 10 minutes. And by the way, they have the 30-minute rule as well. They wait 30 minutes until there's no lightning within 5 miles of the airport. So if you've got friends or family that are flying in and out of Charlotte Douglas, could be a while. The leading edge is pushing pretty far southeast, and not only is the lightning coming down, James, but we're also starting to see. Do we have wipers on there?
We do. We have wipers on the
Wow.
cameras. Yeah, we found out one night you were on vacation and Becca was filling in, and we used the wiper, and the wasps did not like it.
Yeah, they were mad.
But you were talking about the lightning, and I knew we were still getting some activity back towards Chester and York County, so I was trying to turn our Monroe camera that direction.
Yeah, so we're kind of looking towards the south, because you're looking through downtown Monroe, so you're looking almost due south, southeast. So, where this camera normally looks, it does kind of look south, so it's looking in that general direction. But you could see, Wingate area, it looks like pretty good storm down towards the Lancaster-Chesterfield County line. That's down in Watermelon Country down there as you get towards Pageland, and Highway 9, which runs from Lancaster County over into Chesterfield County. That area right there is about to get clobbered. I bet our Lylesville camera is going to look good here shortly as this line approaches. But I do want to show you quickly, I want to show you the Dallas camera, because this is behind the line, right?
Yeah.
And look, beautiful rainbow.
Wow.
We're looking back towards the Charlotte Douglas Airport. The airport is actually right behind that rainbow. So you're noticing that, we have some clearing skies developing back into parts of Gaston County. And so the back edge is clearing out quite a bit. And what I would expect this evening is once this first line moves through, I think the severe risk will go down quite a bit. But we do have additional showers and maybe a rumble of thunder, though it's not going to be nearly as strong. We have a secondary line that's coming down through Interstate 40, and that's pushing southeast pretty quickly. So Brittany Van Voorhees is in here with us as well. Brittany, I see you over there looking at the radar quite a bit as well. Have you seen like an increase in damage reports? Because for a while there, we were watching Slack, which we talk with the Weather Service on, and just my spotters. We had a ton of people reporting trees and power lines down, and it looks like that might be slowing down just a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that we've seen a lot of additional damage reports. Honestly, what I was looking at, Brad, was PNC Music Pavilion has a big concert tonight, and actually one of my friends is there.
Yeah.
They had delayed, and they still have delayed opening the gates. And
the concert was supposed to be 7:30, right?
I think they'd already started to open the gates, and then they basically sent out a notification that was like everybody needs to seek shelter in their cars or wait further instructions. Yeah, they're delaying. They delayed the doors for tonight's show.
Hey,
it's Thomas Rhett.
I'll tell you what, that didn't used to be the case at PNC. They used to take a lot of chances over there. I would always be cringe when people send me pictures on social media in the middle of a concert with thunder and lightning all over. Now they definitely are very proactive. I've seen this happen a couple times where they've actually made people leave and go to their car and come back. So the reason I was clapping, I applaud them for this great safety measure. It's probably easier to keep the gates closed so that people can stay in their car and stay safe until these storms move through. So you're looking at what Brittany's tracking. That's a positive lightning strike, very close to PNC, and that's in the last 15 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, so that's actually, I'm texting my friend Austin right now. So 4.5 miles away-ish. Not only is positive, more dangerous, but also, I mean, the classic for most, as we know, concert venues is like 5 to 10, like Bank of America Stadium is 8. So they probably are going to do another 30-minute delay now.
I think I used to help them with lightning support because I did a call and the production people left there, but I think they have a contract with somebody in the Northeast, so they do all of their concert venues. So my guess is they're probably going to use the 8-mile rule based on that, and 30 minutes they got to wait until there's nothing within 8 miles. So
well, the question that I got was, they said they're consulting with local meteorologists. Aren't you and Brad local meteorologists? And I said about Austin, they're doing it because you could get struck by lightning. And I think you probably talked about this last night. I mean, we just had the new study that came out with the storm back in October 2017. And I mean, 515 miles away from the center of the storm. So we know, lightning is never a joke, but it's especially no joke in this situation because 4 miles away from PNC is not that far away. And with positive lightning strikes, they're about 10 times stronger and they last about 10 times longer. So they're less often the strikes that we see here in the Carolinas and really across the country, but they are ones that can potentially strike people. And I mean, we've had even lots of reports in the Carolinas, it feels like, this summer.
Yeah, it's been Tim and I were joking the other night, we seem to can't get away from lightning. There's always some story about lightning happening. And that study we referenced, because we talked about it yesterday, the mega flash, I read the complete study because it was utterly fascinating, honestly. Even from I think a non-weather geek would enjoy reading it because it was pretty fascinating about how these things form. But what struck me was, no pun intended, was that behind the main line is where they saw these mega flashes. They actually happen in the stratiform rain that is behind so the leading edge, you expect a ton of lightning. These are happening on the backside where things seem like they're calming down and getting better. And they came up with this term that first time I ever heard it, bolt from the gray. It's not bolt from the blue, which comes out of blue skies from a distant storm. This comes from another part of the rain shield that may not have lightning in it right now, but it's gray and raining, and the lightning comes from the charged part of the storm and travels through the clouds all the way to the backside. So,
well, you're talking about that lightning strike near the pavilion. That's a live traffic camera near the pavilion, and it is very gray.
And so they're kind of in that back part of that storm, and so it kind of fits what you would expect for these mega flash. And mega flash means, I think they said over 60 miles is what they can, anything over 60 miles, which is crazy because normally we say 20, 30 is like the max, which, let's be honest, 99.9% of all of them are going to be within that. These mega flashes are pretty rare, and I don't foresee safety issues going forward, knowing that we have 500-mile lightning strikes. There's not going to be delays for a storm that's 500 miles away. But I do think certain types of storms, these clusters of storms, these lines of storms, tend to produce them more than individual storms. So if there's an MCS, which is a thunderstorm complex, and it's moving over, you might have the lightning threshold be a little bit longer just because you know that these potentially could be in there.
I think that's one of the things, and I don't know if you felt this way, but especially living in a city, like Charlotte, where we have a lot of concerts and music venues, and Bank of America Stadium is outside. A lot of these NFL stadiums, or just stadiums in general, use the 8 to 10 rule. But I feel like if we looked at it from maybe a meteorologist perspective, especially with new science that's coming in, it maybe would need to be treated differently based on whether or not, like you said, it's a cluster or if it's just one singular one. Because people get, and I totally get it. We've all been there, right? Where we're so frustrated we want to get in there. But 8 to 10 and more, so I feel like we see 8 than anything else,
Yeah.
is actually relatively conservative.
Yeah.
Because if 99% of the bolts from the blue or the bolts from away from the parent storm are closer to 20 to 30,
Mhm.
we're talking like 500 is rare.
Yeah.
If a lot of them can be 20 to 30, then that's 3 times
Yeah.
higher than 8 miles. So I know people get frustrated, but I think we have to just like remind ourselves as humans to know that it's the impact that is important.
For sure.
Your best friend, you, your family, your daughter, your son, your wife, whoever is the one who gets struck by lightning and potentially can get hurt, if not the worst.
Yeah.
Then you care. Maybe the other 500 people are like, whatever, but we have to like care about those things, and I think, and be more aware of those situations, that it's not the people who are in charge just like trying to be jerks or
Yeah.
something like that. Like they're doing it to keep you safe.
Well, and I'll tell you, I'm doing a lot of lightning and weather support for outdoor venues. It is the reason they want meteorologists on site more often than not is because it's just you can't automate this. You can't have every 8-mile distance isn't the same. So, for instance, NASCAR, we do a lot of work with NASCAR tracks. Charlotte Motor Speedway, one of them, as well as Bristol. There's certain instances where if a storm is approaching from the southwest and we know it's moving pretty fast, the lightning threshold might be much bigger because we know the storm is heading. If it's a storm that popped up already past us and is moving away, we might be like, hey, it's already passed 8 miles. Yeah, there was a strike, but it's already gone and it's moving away. So we may not evacuate stand. So every situation is a little bit different. You need a meteorologist to analyze what's happening in real time. So I think that's an important part is like, hey, not all lightning strikes within 8 miles are the same. Sometimes the storm is really, the 8 miles might have been 30 miles from the storm, but you just happen to be close enough for that 30-mile strike to be near you. You probably don't need to evacuate for that. But when a storm is farther away but it's heading right for you, I might say 20 miles, I might start evacuating people right away. So
Yeah, and it could be something like a high school football game.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of them have, especially in the South, they have the sensors, that tell
Yep.
you, and a lot of them use 8-mile radius too. But same thing. I mean, if you're talking high school kids on a field, you're probably going to be a little bit more sensitive if you know that it's a storm that's coming, like you said, toward you versus a storm like this where it's kind of the stratiform rain, like you mentioned, that's kind of on the backside. So I agree. I think every situation is different.
Not to interrupt you, but I see the planes moving at
Okay,
Charlotte,
good.
and I actually saw one take off, James.
All right.
So
That's progress.
the first one, now I see 2 of them taking off. So I actually colored. Brittany didn't know how to do this, and she was. If you click on the airport on FlightAware, you can see all the planes coming or going just from Charlotte Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
And they will color code them so you can see when they're green, they're taking off. When they're blue, they're coming here. And now we've got a bunch coming in from the north, and it looks like 3 planes have taken off. So the first time since what? Gosh, it's been a while. I've seen a plane take off.
An hour or two. This is going to be a backlog that they have.
Yeah, so look at them all. They're all like, hey, time
Dozens.
to go. But those guys that were on the taxiway are now heading to the gates, which means that the lightning is probably passed, and now they have crews out there to get them into the gates.
When we last had our roof camera up, you could start to see some of the ground support vehicles moving around again out there, Brad.
Yeah, I'll bring that up real quick. And
I'll
kinda
zoom
take
back
a
in
look.
on it.
So
we should go to Anson County after that.
Yeah, the Anson County camera looks amazing. So we actually have the sun coming out too from our roof cam as well. So our roof cam here at the station, which we're off the Billy Graham Parkway for everybody watching, we are very close to the airport. I mean, we hear planes all the time. It's like 3 exits down the parkway and you could be in the airport. So you're looking back to the west, you actually see the control tower on the left side of the screen. James is going to try to zoom in on the tarmac there.
Visibility is still not great.
Yeah, it's still raining pretty good, but
Here comes a shot of some ground vehicles.
yeah, so I did see it looked like some tugs were moving around out there. And Tug is a brand name, by the way. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
So those little cars, they're like they drive around that they tow all those trailers with your luggage on. They're called Tugs, and it's actually the brand name of the company that makes them. So
Like
Season
Kleenex
four.
versus tissue.
exactly. So it's kind of weird. So yeah, you do see some vehicles right there moving. Those are some Tugs moving around. At least I think that's what I mean. Maybe someone lied to me when they told me that, but that's what I heard. And Tug is written on the side, so I can't imagine the company would not put their name on their vehicle. But yeah, that plane.
County camera.
Yeah, that plane is actually looks like they're getting luggage off that plane.
I think so. But to your
So-
point, yeah, the crew.
There's a lot of them.
Is
It
out
looks like they swarmed it. They're probably trying to move them quick. So we'll go to the Anson County camera here. It's there on the left side of your screen. Look at that. That is a huge rain shaft heading towards Lylesville, which is in Anson County. This is east of Wadesboro. So this is going east towards Richmond County, as you go into towards Rockingham, we can actually see the PD River on a nice day here. It looks really nice over there, but that is one heck of a rain shaft. And the reason the rain shaft is important, we watch sometimes, because if we see it kind of belling out, what I mean by that is the edges, instead of being up and down, if it starts flaring out like bell-bottom jeans, where the bottom flares out, or if you have flared pants, that's a sign that it's a downburst. You're getting the wind to rush out and curl up on the side. So looking at that left side there, it's kind of starting to try to do that a little bit.
We also have some video that you sent along.
Oh, yes.
Providence Road area?
So Providence Road, thank you to Eric Dickerson sent this in. He sent this little walk and talk kind of showing us about a huge pin oak that had some rot in it, but it was still pretty healthy. The wind split it and brought it down. This tree is huge, by the way. It is a massive tree. And so he, I don't know, he said he was in Hickory too. I don't know what he was doing up there. I have to see if he sent me a message from Hickory, but he said he was in the storms in Hickory, got home here to Charlotte, and then the same line got him again. So this is a view of some trees down, and this is what we've seen over a lot of the area tonight. This is off of Providence Road here in Mecklenburg County.
This is the same store that I core punched in Hickory. Just rolling through Charlotte. Massive pin oak tree. Split down the middle. Just gonna wipe this thing off. I mean, dude, massive. Woo! That's a big old tree. I don't want to touch it because that power line's still on. Oh. Same storm line that I went through in Hickory. Massive. Massive.
All right, thanks, Eric, for that. Yeah, a lot of trees down across here. We've seen a lot of that. And I'm going to bring up the radar one more time here. I'm going to look at the storm reports. We call them LSRs. One thing you'll learn about following meteorology, we love our acronyms. So LSR is local storm report. That's where that term comes from. We've got one for just about every term in our business here. So I'm going to pull up the storm reports, and they really haven't populated them, but we've gotten a lot via Slack from the Weather Service. But what I'm going to do is kind of show you a quick query of all of the reports right there, even up into Tim's area. So about 14 reports officially so far. 2 of those were flash flood, but 12 were thunderstorm wind damage. So I think that number is going to go up quite a bit as we get into the evening here, because what happens after the storms move through, people start sending their reports and the pictures start coming in. These will get officially entered into the LSRs, and we'll see more of these populate over time. But let's give an update on where these storms are right now, because they are pushing southeast. And I will say this, they are showing signs of getting weaker. I am so glad, because I was getting worried we're going to have wind damage all the way to the coast the way these were going. So let's look at this. We'll kind of track this off to the east. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to take that off because I think they're moving faster than that. I'm going to look at this wind speed one more time. Initially, the radar had them moving at roughly 15 to 20 miles per hour. They're moving way quicker than that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to actually see what the actual track is. Oh, man, even the Weather Service says 20. I think they're moving like 25 or 30 maybe. I'm going to put 30 on here just to let you guys get an idea. So let me grab our thing. We're going to put this at 30 miles an hour, so ignore that for a second. We'll erase that. We'll do a big old track here to get you through Chesterfield and Richmond counties, because you haven't seen the rain yet. So there's a quick look. I'll move this right there over to the left side. It's a little easier to see. So see Westville, Mount Pisgah, Seven Lakes, Chesterfield, Carthage, there right in the Southern Pines area into Moore County. That's in the Sandhills there around Pinehurst and Southern Pines. Then Pine Ridge, North Hartsville, you're going down towards the PD region as you get closer to the Grand Strand and going down towards Darlington area, Laurinburg, and then the PK Air Park area right around 8 o'clock or so. So kind of a rough idea. So if you haven't seen the storms yet, they're going to be there shortly. And just to look at the future cast to give you an idea on kind of the timing here. We said there might be a secondary line. I think the secondary line is going to be just showery. You can see by 10 o'clock things kind of fizzle out. To me, the most exciting part of this whole forecast going into the weekend is last weekend we had crazy intense heat. Remember 101 and 102, And now we're talking temperatures this weekend that might be only in the 70s.
That's amazing.
Morning lows in the 60s. Now, to put this in context, we have not seen a low temperature below 70 degrees, meaning no 60s at all, for 36 days now.
Okay, so I updated this.
What is it?
You want to
How
guess?
many days?
You want to guess,
I'm saying 36, but
James?
I feel like
I
it's
counted
been.
to be sure.
I feel like it's been a year, so I don't even know anymore.
41.
Wow.
41.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Whole month of July plus last, what was it, 10 days of June, and then including this morning.
My gosh.
I
that's-
actually double checked because I was like, that seems really long. Yeah.
So less than 70, the longest. I mean, I'm trying to see what that, because it blew by a while ago. But I'm kind of curious what the number one was before.
30 days.
30 days. So we
August
blew past it.
2016.
Wow.
I actually pulled it up on traffic if you wanted. 'cause I
I'm
updated
sorry.
it.
Here we
Oh,
go.
no, it's okay. I just
Oh,
updated it
that's
earlier.
crazy. Yeah.
So
that's
30 days in August 2016, sorry to cut you off, Brad, but also 30 days in 1993.
Yeah.
Which obviously we've talked about.
So it's been a while. I mean, that's crazy to see that many days in a row without seeing 60. So you got to go back to, it was basically mid-June. And the last time we had a high temperature in the 70s was the end of May. And the last time we had a weekend with 70s for both days, Memorial Day weekend, which I remember, that was abnormally cool as well. It was a beautiful weekend, Coca-Cola 600 weekend, and it felt great. And it's been a while since we've seen anything like that. So yeah, the storms you're seeing now, they're pretty active. They're causing a lot of damage out there, but that's kind of what you expect. When you have historic heat wave like we just had, I think we had the 4, 5, and 6 day consecutive hottest periods on record in Charlotte. To go from that to temperatures in the 70s, you're probably going to get severe weather at some point, just because there's usually a big pattern flip. It's not the cold and the warm clashing. It's just the system that causes the change usually has a lot of energy, and that's what causes severe weather. So expect some big changes. Now, tonight we're going to do something a little different. Our show normally ends right about now. We're going to take a small 2-minute break, and we're going to come back, and Brittany and I and James will be here for another half hour. We're going to track these until 7:30, which will pretty much get the severe storms completely out of our area. And if nothing else pops up, we'll go back to our normal WCNC news coverage coming up at 7:30. But stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 minutes.